Hey, everybody, this is Coach John Slocum. I'm here coming to you tonight live from my home in Bradenton, Florida, where I want to bring to you some really great information on building your nutrition plan for Ironman, half Ironman training and racing. This is a really, let's see. Okay, so I definitely have some audio because I just checked it out on the headset and I'm going to get rid of that. But what I want to talk to you guys tonight about is nutrition. First off, I am a USAT trained coach. I've got 5 years experience at coaching. I've coached multiple Ironman, half Ironman athletes, as well as myself being a over 100 races where I'm about a 30% podium rate. But I'm nothing special. I am just your average everyday triathlete. I always say if you throw enough spaghetti against the wall, sooner or later a noodle is going to stick. And I've had some noodle stick. So, I just truly enjoy triathlon racing. I truly enjoy teaching you about triathlon racing, and I do offer uh, I do offer online training. I offer local training, and I also offer some training plans that I can bring to you guys. Um, like my 10 for $10 sprint triathlon training plan, where I give you 10, oh, excuse me, where I give you 10 weeks of training for $10. Now, I got an echo coming out of my headset here. Give me just a second here while I kill the audio on my other computer. Gone. There we go. Now I can't hear it. So, what I want to do is I want to talk to you guys about nutrition tonight. And tonight's broadcast is being brought to you by Longevity Wellness Centers here in town. She is a Chinese medicine doctor who offers acupuncture, but also a full line of supplements, and is a Ironman uh, finisher, and also a coming up to race Ironman Texas. Within about 5 or 6 weeks, Longevity Wellness Center will be offering an online store where you can purchase supplements to help you in your training. So, with all of that said, it's now time to jump on board and get ready to talk about your nutrition. Are you ready to set your nutrition plan for Ironman or half Ironman racing? I'm here today to help you in any way that I possibly can. Stay on board because I'm going to bring you some really great information. So, what is it all about? Planning your nutrition. I want to tell you that tra- you can't practice an Ironman. You can't just do it. You can't go out and you practice an Ironman. You can kind of practice a 70.3, but you just don't have the recovery time if you're going to go out there and you're going to try to do a full 70.3 prior to your race. Uh, pull that there. There we go. That's better. Now I'm actually moving in my monitor at the same pace as I am on the video. So, we got a chat here. And I want to say hi to Dr. Cynthia. She is here tonight. And if you throw some questions in the chat, she will be able to answer them back to you right there in the chat about her supplements and about anything that she offers at Longevity Wellness. So, what I'm saying again is you can't practice that Ironman, but you can practice your Ironman nutrition plan. And what I'm saying is, when you're going to build a nutrition plan, you want to build your nutrition plan from day one. What I hate to see and really don't like is when I see a athlete put in a forum or in a group, "Hey, I'm 2 weeks out from my Ironman or my half Ironman. What should I eat? What should I do? What should I drink?" Folks, that's too late. You got to plan your training from day one. You have to train your body to take in the nutrients and to process the nutrients, just as important as swim, bike, and run. Now, can you train your gut? Can you train your nutrition? Yes, you can do it. It isn't that hard, but it takes a long time and it takes practice. So that's what we're going to talk about tonight, is what that training plan is and how to get that practice. One of the things you can do, and one of the most important things you can do, is to create a log. Keep track of exactly what you're taking in, what the product is you're using, what your intake is, when it was during the ride or during the run. Uh, and that'll help you set up your nutrition plan. Truly, that plan has to come together over a length of time. You could try certain products. Certain products may work for you, but may not work. Uh, but other products may not work. For me, maltodextrin is a gut bomb. That's the Gatorade endurance that they use on the course. That stuff I just can't take it. So I have to have something different to use on the course while I'm doing my Ironman or half Ironman racing. So what you got to have is, first off, we got to talk about some things, and we're going to talk about first the basic outline that you're going to use for. I got to put this down here. The basic outline that you're going to use is this, and I'm not a nutritionist, folks. I'm a coach. I have studied the nutrition. I have studied what I'm talking about tonight. Um, but this is a basic outline, and this is your starting point. This is not your finish point. This is your starting point. When you start off on day one, when you start training, you want to look and have these metrics in mind that you can adjust as your training goes farther and farther and farther along to eventually bring you to the best possible nutrition plan on race day. So, what does our basic outline show us? Number one, we need to replace about 50% of our calories burned during our race. The average person is going to burn somewhere between 350 and 700 calories an hour. You can use your Garmin watch to get a general idea of where you're going to be at on your calorie burn and what calories you have to add back in. So, what you want to do is you really truly can't take in just as many calories as you're going to burn, because you would just fill yourself up. You turn yourself into a person who spent more time in the porta potty than you took and spent on the run. So we want to replace about 50% of our calories. We want to look at having between 60 and 90 grams of carbs per hour. Yes, I know there are people out there who do this with more. There are people who do this with less. There are people out there that are going to be able to do a race of up to half Ironman. I don't know too many who do Ironman. If I'm wrong, let me know in the chat. But they'll do it in a ketosis state. They'll do it without carbs. But carbs are important. Carbs are what fuels your brain. Also, you get kind of foggy if you don't have the carb intake and the right number of carbs. So we got to find the items that you can add to your training plan, to your nutrition plan, that give you the right carbs, that don't give you the gut bomb, the GI distress. You want to add 24 to 36 ounces of hydration per hour. By the way, that's per hour here. Calories is a total replacement. Carbs is per hour, and your hydration is per hour. So you're going to add 24 to 36 ounces of your liquid per hour. We're going to go a little bit heavier on the bike than you will on the run. It's much easier to process on the bike than the run. You're going to add between 600 and 1,000 milligrams of electrolytes. You may be getting that here in your hydration. You may be getting that with your energy gels, your energy chews. But you're going to replace between 600 and 1,000 milligrams of electrolytes. I'm a heavy sweater. But I'm a heavy sweater, but I don't sweat a lot of salt. I've done the salt test, and I don't sweat a lot of salt. How you can tell if you sweat a lot of salt? If you go run or you bike, and when you sweat and you're finished and you have salt marks on your kit, salt marks on your pant legs, on your back. Some people sweat so much salt, they'll actually get salt crystallization on their eyebrows and in their hair. That would be a person that needs to be upward in that 1,000 milligram range. Or you get someone like me that I'm a very low sweater. I don't sweat a lot. I don't lose a lot of salt in my sweat. I stick between the 600 and 700 milligram range. Then there's the option of caffeine, 3 to 6 milligrams per kilo is what is suggested for the race. Guys, videos coming soon on the proper use of caffeine and racing and in training. Now, where are you going to get uh, your electrolytes, your calories, and your hydration, or your electrolyte, calories, and carbs from? You're going to get them from outside sources. Now, I personally am going to use for my carbohydrates, I'll use the Bonk breaker right there, the Bonk breaker chews. This is going to replace this is going to add glucose into my system where I'm going to be able to use that as an energy source. Other things we'll use, again, the Mutant Gels. Mutant Gels are on the course. These are really, really good. Flip that over. I'll use those also. But you also may use something like a goo product, which is a maltodextrin based, or something like a Huma gel or a honey stinger, which use natural ingredients. I also add, and to get my calories, I'll take in a Bonk bar as I go through the ride, or the run, not the run, but generally the ride. And I'll use the Electrolyte, SaltStick electrolytes. I've been using these since my second Ironman, training for my second Ironman, because I had problems in my first Ironman, and that's how I found out the maltodextrin doesn't work for me. SaltStick also has a new product out. It's a SaltStick electrolyte drink right there. This is a really, really good, really flavorful drink. I like flavorful drinks. If you like kind of the more bland, it may not work for you, but this is really an amazing product. Let's see. We'll see if I can do this. Can I bring this? Show. Oh, there we go. Just having that conversation. Can you repeat the numbers on the carbs? This is Dr. Cynthia, by the way. She is the owner and head practitioner at Longevity Wellness. On the carbs, 60 to 90 grams per hour. That's what you want to look at replacing. But literally, you're going to train this and you're going to practice this. You're going to add more. You're going to take some out and work your way until you find and zero in on the number that works for you. All right. So let's moving on. I want to talk to you guys about an example. Now, I'm doing this example because what I did yesterday is I rode a little over 50 miles, and I was given some numbers that I burned. I burned about 1,400 calories. It was a 50 miles at 2 hours and 34 minutes, 1,404 calorie burn, or 547 calories per hour. So that's what I'm looking to replace. So I burned 1,404 calories. My example here, my goal would be to replace 575 calories with the nutrition plan that I did. And I'm going to explain the nutrition plan that I actually did. I used 1 pack of the Bonk Breaker Fast Chews. This gave me 8 grams of sugar, 140 calories, and 18 grams of carbs. That was splitting this into 2 separate intakes, one earlier and one later. I took 1 Mutant Gel. That's 100 calories, 25 grams of carbs, and 25 grams of sugar. Now, I know a lot of people are going to say you don't want to eat sugar yet, but this is not white processed sugar. This is a more natural sugar that we're using, and mostly glucose based. Then I took 2 26-ounce bottles of the electrolyte mix and I left it over there. Let me go get it real quick. That's what I get for thinking that I'm all set up with 1 scoop of Carbopro. Carbopro is It's a glucose, straight glucose. It adds 100 calories to whatever you're drinking. Just a way to bump your calories to get some more of your fuel. Calories are like gasoline in a race car. uh, that is where you're going to your fuel your body is through calories. Your body's going to burn those calories, turn them into fuel, and your body's going to go forward. You want to use the best possible calorie intake that you can. Yeah, you can eat a Big Mac and get the calories, but you're also going to get all the fat, and you want to stay with a very low fat products that you're going to use to get um, your calorie intake. Now that added 220 calories intake, 106 grams of carbs, and 726 milligrams of electrolytes. I also, but so that would be what I took in on my 50-mile ride. So my goals for the 50-mile ride were 575 calories per hour coming in, 150 grams total of carbohydrates, 65 ounces of fluid, and 1,800 milligrams of electrolytes. So how did I do? Let's take a look right here. Where did I put? I brought in, we're going to use two different color markers here. I brought in 485 calories. I was short on my calories by about 90 calories for that ride. Now, what I would do with that would be in a race, in a 50 miles in a race, that's when I take in the the bonk breaker bar. I'll eat one of those at about 30 miles. Now, if I'm doing an Ironman race, I'm going to eat one of these at mile 30, mile 60, and mile 90. And I'm going to go ahead and do that so that my body is able to front load a little bit of calories for the Ironman distance marathon run. Now, the second item, as we were looking for, it's 150 grams of carbs. What did I get? 151. So we're going green on that one. 151 grams of carbs. This is a program that I've used for years and years and years. That I've actually built this program. This isn't something I've made up overnight, guys. I've been doing this exact program since 2018 when I did Ironman Louisville. This winter's plan came together and has adjusted. I've changed some products here and there, and I am using SaltStick products and Bonk Breaker products. I really appreciate them backing me up a little bit on my channel. So make sure you go ahead and use those products. I do have a discount code. If you go to saltstick.com, you can get 20% off. Just use the code Coach John. All capitals, one word. Now, we're looking for 65 ounces, or 65 ounces of hydration being brought in that length of time. And how did I do on that one? I brought in 60. So I missed a little bit. I missed a little bit on my fluid intake. It was a little cooler morning. I was riding with a rider that was a little bit faster than me. And toward the end, I kind of was like struggling just to keep up with her. Yes, her. I have a friend who is just a blazing fast female bike rider, and she dragged me the last 10 miles of that ride yesterday. And I'm looking for 1,800 milligrams of sodium. How did I do on that one? Guys, I really blew that one. I did not pay enough attention to my sodium intake. Might be one of the reasons why I was running low on fueling at the end. I took in 872 milligrams of sodium. I missed taking in my sodium on several. I usually how I do this is I will take a gel and sodium, then gel and sodium every 15 minutes or so. The SaltStick chews every 15 minutes in between each one, giving me about 35 minutes between each gel, 35 minutes between each electrolyte tab. So what I did is I missed a little bit. But in a race, like I said, I would add a bonk breaker bar at about mile 30 on the bike just to give myself some solid food to eat. And guys, a lot of people will say, I can't eat solid food when I'm racing. This is a big mistake. This is why we train our gut, we train our nutrition. You have to be able to take in that solid food because your body, first off, is going to eventually be craving the solid food, and it's a fast way to get in more calories and more. You're getting in more calories, you're getting in more sugars, you're getting in more of the things your body's needing to keep on going. Now, how do you do that? You just do it. You find something that you can eat, whether it's the Bonk Breaker bar or some other product, but you got to find something that you can eat because in a half Ironman race, you're pretty much going to be missing 2 meals during the race, and in an Ironman race, you're pretty much going to miss 3 full meals plus for the average age grouper. And that's who I talk to. I talk to the average age grouper. I'm not out here trying to teach a pro or somebody who's going to go out there and qualify for Kona. I want to teach you guys how to make this thing work for you. So, it was a 50-mile ride, 2 hours and 34 minutes. I am 185 pounds and a heavy sweater. That's where I got my numbers from right there. Now, when we talk about the caffeine, video coming soon. Guys, I'm doing a full video on the proper use and timing of caffeine in a race. It's going to take a little bit. This is just not the timing. We don't have the time to get that thing done in this broadcast. So, what we're going to do now is we're going to talk about my suggestion. What I mean by my suggestion is I want to talk to you about what I would take as the basic outline and how I would implement that to get this. All right. So we got our basic outline. We'll go over that. We got replacing our calories. We got our carbs, our hydration, our electrolytes, and our optional calories. We got an example of how all that stuff came together. I know none of this is going to leave me with any sort of gut bomb whatsoever. Every one of these products is well tested by me on me and works really, really well. I would say to start with something of this nature and then move from there. Well, let's go to my suggestion. How are we going to make this work? First off, like I said, we're going to do a log. We're going to log everything that we do on our nutrition and write it down and be able to make adjustments as it goes. Oh, by the way, hydration is really important. We're going to practice. And what I mean by practice is we're going to do the same things over and over and over again. We want to practice what we're going to eat the night before the race, the dinner before the race. We want to practice that the night before any of our long rides or long runs, a long brick session. We want to try that so that we make sure that we can stomach that and it's not going to cause problems with too much fiber or too little of one item, too much of another, too much spices, not enough carbohydrates intake, not income. But I'm going to give you a myth. There's a myth out there. The myth is called carbo loading, and where you're going to load up on a whole bunch of carbohydrates the day or 2 days before the race. Your body can only hold in its cells so much carbohydrates, so much glucose. And what's going to happen is if you try to carbo load, your body's not going to be able to process it all, and it's going to come back out again. It's just going to be gone, or your body's going to store it as fat. Not a bad thing. Your body can access that fat for fuel later in a race, but you don't want to over carbo load because it just doesn't really work. Should you not eat carbs before the race? No, I didn't say that. You're not going to go overboard with your carbo loading. Now, when you get out there and you're going to do a long swim, either a long open water swim or a long gym swim, you're going to start off just like you would prior to the race. You're going to eat. Oh, let's go back. I'm stepping ahead of myself. Breakfast. Breakfast is incredibly important. There's a lot of people out there who are saying, I'm not a breakfast eater. You need to be a breakfast eater. The advertising is breakfast is the most important meal of the day. guess what? They're not lying. Breakfast is the most important meal of the day, especially if you're an endurance athlete. That's where you're getting your fuel. That's where you're getting your first hit of calories. That's where you're getting your first hit of carbohydrates. That's where you're drinking your coffee, tea. In my case, I drink iced tea, where you're going to get a little kick of the caffeine before to get you fired up and get you moving and get you grooving. You're going to eat that approximately an hour before your swim, before your workout. But you're going to practice that breakfast. You're going to practice your dinner. You're going to practice your breakfast. You're going to get those down to where they are like clockwork. You're going to take a gel before the start of a swim. I don't care if you're going to the gym and you don't think you need it and the workout doesn't say it, but what you want to do is you want to take that gel about 15 minutes before you hit the pool or hit the open water so that your body gets used to how it feels to have that gel in your stomach and start the swim. You're going to take also the other thing is you're also going to take that gel before the swim because you're now going to be fasting for in a half Ironman. If you're fast, 30 minutes. If you're average, 45 to 50 minutes, and you could be as long as an hour to an hour and 20 minutes without having any intake of fuel whatsoever. You want to be fueled up as best you possibly can at the start of that swim. That segues right into the start of the bike. What I mean by that is you're going to take a gel when you start on your bike. You can either take the gel while you're running your bike after changing into your bike gear and you're going through transition, or wait till you get on the bike, get settled in, and immediately take a gel. Start that killing that fast as soon as you possibly can. You want to do that every single bike ride you do. What? I don't need a gel right at the beginning of the bike ride. Actually, you want to do that because you want to take in your gel or your chews or whatever you're going to take in right off the bat on that bike, and you want your body to be used to it. This is all about training your nutrition, and you're training that by following these instructions. Now, when it comes to riding the bike, you're going to adjust. Remember, we talked about over here, we talked about this is an outline, and you're going to work with this outline to build your goals, and then you're going to work on your answers or your what you actually did and put that in and log all that. Then you're going to be able to make the adjustments you need. I obviously need to make sure I take in a little more sodium. I know that, and I didn't, but nobody's perfect. But here comes the hack. Okay, here comes the hack, and the hack is your last bottle on the bike. You're going to take in water. Now, if it's a half Ironman, you could do half a bottle. Ironman, definitely your last bottle, you want to take in water. What you're going to do there is you've been eating gels, you've been eating hard food, you've been eating tablets, and you've got all this stuff in your stomach. You want to almost like dilute that and let your body absorb that before you get out there and start working hard on the run. Now, you want to take your first segment of the run and you want to do that fasting. You're going to go to the first aid station without drinking, without eating. You want to get your system cleared out, and then you can move on to your nutrition plan for the run. Here's the important part. This is the part that's the super secret. It ain't a secret. Guys, I'm really happy to be able to share this with you. This is my run hack. And what you're going to do is you want to split all of your fuel sources. You want to split your hydration, you want to split your electrolytes, and you want to split your fuel. You don't really do that on the bike. It's hard to do on the bike to regulate that because you are pedaling, you're in aero. You can take in your electrolytes with your drink because you're going to front load that on the bike. You're going to go heavier on the bike than you are on the run with your intake of carbohydrates and your intake of calories. But when you get on the run, you now are in a situation where the weather can make a monster difference in how you do on the run. So when you have your fuel split, your fuel source, your gel, your I like personally, I like to go straight to gels. I don't really care for the chews on the run. So I'm working with the Mutant Gels, grabbing them off the table at the aid stations, guys. I'm not going to carry all the extra weight. And what I'm telling you there is you don't want to carry extra weight. I'm going to split my electrolytes. I'm going to carry pack or two of the SaltStick electrolyte. If you're doing a Ironman, you're going to put these in your special needs bag at halfway at the half Ironman. One package should do you. This particular flavor is coconut pineapple. I have watermelon. I have mixed berry. I have mango, my favorite. I have peach. I have lemon lime and tart orange up there that I use, and I mix them all up. You also might need to do this. Hold on a second again. I forgot something again. Oh, I knew I was going to do that eventually. Knocking down all my my lighting gear. You might need to use this. This is electrolyte tablets. The tablets are great because the SaltStick are buffered, and some of them have caffeine, some are buffered, some aren't. You can find the right combination for you. You can take these if you're just totally completely done with the salty, sweet stuff that you've been taking in. Now, let's see what we got here. Dr. Cynthia says, so true. Let's see. Uh, Yeah, there we go. Dr. Cynthia said, I heard of a can of soup for a pre race breakfast. Thoughts? Breakfast is what you put in your body. Okay. I personally I like more breakfasty type food. I do the same thing day in and day out every single day. I use fruit and I eat a bagel. Uh, but that's just what I use. It really is the practice of the breakfast and the dinner. That's something that works for you, and know that you need to practice it. If a can of soup's what you need, you better hit the store and buy your soup, because you're going to be eating that for breakfast, and you really want to use the same breakfast all the time. Um, let's go back to our hack here. Now, we're going to take and not carry a lot of anything with us on the run. I pretty much just drop the SaltStick electrolyte tablets in my pocket. Unless it's a race that does not have the Mutant Gels, I'll carry the Mutant Gels with me then also, and off I'll go. I don't carry any water with me when I run. The last thing you want to do, and this is something I see a lot of people talk about, the last thing you want to do is carry a Camelback. Why? A Camelback's going to be 7 to 9 pounds of extra weight laying high on your back, on your body, and you do not want to carry all that extra weight for that distance after that long ride. Now, why do you some people who are doing Ironman racing or half Ironman racing worry about that? Like, is there going to be enough to drink on the run course? You know what? There is. There's going to be an aid station between a mile and a mile and a half, all the way through an Ironman or half Ironman race. They're going to have the gels. They're going to have some bananas. They're going to have some fruit. They're going to have Mutant Gels. Like I said, they're going to have the electrolyte drink from Gatorade. But here's the way this is going to work. You're going to actually run from aid station to aid station. You're going to have nothing after an aid station, nothing. There's nothing behind you, and there's nothing after an aid station. You're going to go aid station to aid station to aid station, and when you get to the aid station, that's when you're going to take in your nutrition. You're going to take in your electrolyte tabs, and you're going to take in water. What you can do, regardless of temperature, carbohydrate need doesn't really fluctuate much at all. So you're fueling your gels uh, or your chews, you're going to be able to take in at the same rate regardless of the temperature. But when it comes to hydration and electrolytes, if you are in a cool race or even a cold race, you're not going to need anywhere near the amount of electrolytes, and you can actually overtake electrolytes. And if you leave them in the sports drink, you're going to not be able to adjust on the fly. You want to be able to adjust on the fly. You want to be able to take more electrolytes in and more liquid in on a hotter race when you're going to be sweating a lot, and less on a race where you're in the cooler or colder weather, and you can adjust that on the fly. That's the big thing about that hack. You get your hydration at the aid stations, and that will get you through the race in the best possible way you can. So, what we're going to do, like I said, we're going to follow our basic outline. You're going to build your own example, and you're going to try to follow a plan that you're going to build along the way. This is what I suggest and build for all of my athletes and anybody who comes to me for advice on racing. Guys, is there any questions? If there's anybody out there, you have any questions, I'm open for a question and answer session. You can ask me anything about any type of racing whatsoever, as far as triathlon goes. You can ask me about champ car racing too, but that's that's just something I do as a fun hobby, is work on a champ car team. But you can go ahead and jump on board, and if there's any questions, go ahead and shoot them in the comments right now, and we'll take a look at them and uh, see what we can do. Anybody got something? Yeah, let's see here. Oh, Sarah asks, what was the run hack split? Okay, what was the run hack split? You're splitting your fuel source, you're splitting your electrolytes, and you're splitting your hydration. You're splitting them apart so that you can make the adjustments as you go on the fly. That's really it's really a nice simple thing. And the other thing that it does too is, when you switch to your last water bottle before you get on the run, your body will start to reach back and start to pull fat for fuel. It's a great fuel source, very hard to access, but if you can get your body into the point where it's pulling some fat for fuel, that'll give you the energy you need to get through any long race. Now, so if I got anybody else out there, I want to thank everybody for coming on board. I want to talk to you guys. I want to tell you that I now have a Patreon, patreon.com/Coach John. If you want to support the channel, any money that you put into Patreon, I will roll it right back into the channel, upgrading equipment, upgrading to maybe even a better board. uh, and bringing you more lives. We'll be back next week at 7:00 p.m. I will put out what we're going to talk about then. I am an Amazon associate. Anything that we talked about in this live stream, you can find in the links below, along with other items that I use in my triathlon journey. But if you do click on those and go to Amazon and buy, it does actually send a little bit of money my way to help, again, to make this channel that much better. If you want, if you're watching this on the review, check out this video right here. This is the one on transition. It'll help you to figure out how to carry everything we talked about today. I want to thank you all for coming. This is Coach John. Boom. I'm out.